I was inspired to make Miasma after a late night conversation with my boyfriend about what we'd do if there were a zombie apocalypse. I've always liked zombie films, and I had some of these in mind when I was filming, writing and editing the piece. I took comedy aspects from films like Shaun of the Dead.
Purple Rain. No. Sign of the Times. Definitely not. The Batman soundtrack. Throw it.
And Zombieland.
Snowballs. Yeah. Snowballs? Where's the fucking Twinkies? I like snowballs.
My main inspiration was Danny Boyle, with credits like 28 Days Later, Trainspotting and 127 Hours. It came through a lot in my feedback.
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later.
Like Shallow Grave. So my film was successful in that way. Danny Boyle is a British director and uses independent codes and conventions such as local scenery, British actors,
cheap technology,
that sort of thing. And I really wanted this in my project too, so I used an old style camera, I used British actors. In my aims and context, my main aim was to make an emotionally evoking, professional looking product on a small budget as possible. And I think I did that. I didn't spend anything on it at all. In the scene where David dies, I believe that it is emotionally evoking. I used colour cast music and my prosthetics as well. And I think that really got the sad moment across to the audience. I got feedback from an industry professional, Josh Stolberg, a screenwriter and director, who absolutely loved it, so it must be professional looking in some way. My problems were character building, comedy and narrative. Character building and comedy were very hard to do in the 5-minute restriction.
What are you taking that for?
Supplies.
There's zombies outside. Which meant that I had to put in fast-paced editing, which is actually something that Danny Boyle uses a lot as well.
Because they're both schools, right? And we're all in this together. And I wanted to put across the general idea rather than the details. Like, people get all hung up on details.
There's nothing down there.
What on earth?
Trying to warm up.
Come here then. You don't have to jump around.
I think the comedy aspect really got through. You can actually see some of my target audience laughing along. Because of the challenges, I learned how to be resourceful, which I didn't do last year. I didn't write to be resourceful and write for what I had available to me. Whereas this year I've really done that. I didn't spend a penny on it. And I also learnt how to colour grade, which I tried to do in the first year and didn't end up going through with. I also developed my editing skills using the glitch and the colour casting as well. My editing transitions from last year were really good, but I felt I could develop that further this year. My target audience were males aged 18 to 20 years old with some knowledge of film to understand the stylistic editing, who like horror films and Danny Boyle. I met that target audience using violent themes,
Young man came from hunting, faint and weary,
and YouTube style editing, which is popular amongst youngsters today.
Welcome, I'm David, this is Satcha.
Hi.
Bringing you a Resident Evil walkthrough, 2, Revelation. Let's get into it.
Are we going to play the campaign?
I'm going to be Moira, Flashy Flash.
My feedback actually identified the audience successfully, so I feel as though I got across that target audience really well.
around 18.
Teenage, 20s.
Teenagers definitely, probably like early 20s.
The biggest market would be at the younger end.
In interviews, my strong point was editing, which I developed from AS in the way that I said earlier. It was also sound, which I didn't really pay much attention to at AS.
Born to be forgotten, and that is all.
The train now approaching platform 3
Time.
does not stop here.
The ultimate ruler blindfolds us all, hiding the real truth that is our own insignificance.
But I really wanted that aspect in my A2 work. I think it's a vital piece of the film. All of my audience said that they were drawn into the film and really paid attention to the narrative. However, they did say that there was way too much movement in some of the handheld shots. I could have refilmed it, but I feel as though this adds authenticity and really shows that style of Danny Boyle in my work.